to crime. Right? And then sociology will tell you how to raise yourself or your kids to avoid that state of mind from embodying them, in turn, making them a criminal. And then you will see that by what you have been born in the given in the equation that you was born into was designed for you to be a criminal if you were born black and poor. It's simple. Peace, peace. What's up, YouTube? What's happening? It's the man Merc back at it one time again. Man, sorry for the delay, man. I've been going through a lot of stuff. Get right to it. Part of the reason I take so long, man, I got a lot of stuff I want to say. A lot of my thoughts be so deep that promotes me to think and want to share it with you, right? And because of that, when I come to share it with the camera, I'm like, damn, how do I get them to this level that I got to? Like, you understand what I'm saying? So that's why it's important for you guys to ask me questions. Trust me, I read them. I got an app tied into my YouTube that lets me get the questions if I even have to go on YouTube and all and so forth. So yeah, with that said, I'm gonna try to get into it. One of the things that that has been I seem to be real passionate about these last couple of months has been the passive parenting thing, right? And you know, I'm gonna go back there one more time, probably numerous times throughout the year or so forth. However I see fit, doesn't matter. It's my channel. I do what I want. I run this. All right. But anyway, so let's get right into it. There's so many philosophies, so many symbols, so many so many books and literature and poems and everything that has been written down to express this union, if you would, that is necessary to bring in a healthy child, which in turn will become a healthy adult, which will become a member of the village, right? So just to keep it right here in 2020, like, let's just go with purpose. You see what I'm saying? I meet a lot of women out here. I have conversations with numerous types of women, all different, like my cousins, whoever, just females in general, right? And it seems like the military, or not military, the militant approach to overcoming the problem at hand, or even certain conversations that men have, like every time you have a conversation on this type of topic, women, I never hear women talking about this. They don't have really too much input. They don't have a lot of solutions. They find themselves more reacting to what's going on than to actually be a cause in the resistance of what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? So, with that said, I'd like to put some pressure or some light or some honor or some movements in the role that comes in these situations, right? And it's a twofold situation, no problem. First of all, men, what is the purpose, right? What is the purpose? When you meet a woman and you lay down with her and you have unprotected sex and then something happens after that, let's go with childbirth, right? What was the purpose? Same thing for the female. What was the purpose, right? Now, in the nature of a female, she would have a instinctive desire or need, and it's in her DNA, it's in her physical makeup as a woman to want to produce a baby. It's just how it is. It's in there. They're capable of doing it, and that's in their divine right, and that's something they want to do. They have to produce a baby, right? So now they fall in love for whatever it is. Now I heard Mike Tyson and LL Cool J on Mike Tyson's Hot Box podcast, and he had LL Cool J on there. I may put the clip in there to show off some of my editing skills, or I might just run it straight through, depending on how I feel, right? Anyway, they was talking about love, and I heard LL say that, you know what I'm saying? Love is like Love is like, you know, like a void. Like when you, let's say, I check this out, Mike. It's like this. It's like, you know what I'm saying, baby. It's like if I'm hungry and you got food, then there's a reason for me to love. That's love. You should,
A seeping pool of negativity.
How do you define love, though, in that
Well,
perspective?
I think love. You know, it's funny. You know, it's that old saying, right? Like if you're in the desert, love is water, right? If if you're on a freezing mountaintop, love is heat. Love is the.
because you're filling a void that I don't have. Now, me watching it at the time, and don't trust me, man. I was immature for like a couple minutes or a couple seconds trying to digest that. I disagree with it just off just the way it sounded. You know what I'm saying? Just the way it hit the markers in my mind. And then as I matured with those phrases, I realized that is true. You see what I'm saying? And especially on it's true. It is true, right? Now, when you look at sex, right? Just look at sex real fast, and you look at the vagina as a whole, or something that could be filled in. Then here comes the penis; it fills it in, right? It's a scientific fact, right? This is what the scientists have come to conclude, that at the head of the penis is, let's say, I think it's like 2,000 nerve endings, and then the female has 4,000 nerve endings. In turn, she could get more. She has more stimulation or more sensation or more whatever out of sex than the man, because the man only has 2,000 and she has 4,000, right? So scientists have come to believe there's no real way to figure out who's getting more out of it than who, but from the nerve ending readings, and however they came up with it, that's what they came up with. So it's scientific to say that a woman can get more out of sex than a man, right? Now, with that said, that she's liable to fall in love faster than a man from sex. Now, this is just some of the stuff I have noticed throughout my journey. I have also seen men fall in love through sex through women, but it tends to happen faster with women than it does men. And a lot of people like to argue and so forth, and not me, I'm different, and so forth. I know you different because that's why you watching this. You see what I'm saying? But there's the people who not watching, right? So with that said, they tend to fall in love for that. So what's the purpose, right? Let's go. I'm trying to speed it up now. All right, we fall in love. What's the purpose? The purpose is not because he looks good, not because it feels good, not because he dressed good, not and your nature to produce a baby. If he hits one of those markers and he overdoes that marker and sex is involved, it is liable that she will want to produce a baby out of that union. You understand what I'm saying? Now, what is the purpose? Why are we having a baby? What are we going to do? What is your job? What is my job? How are we going to come together, bring our strengths, and magnify our strengths and attack our weaknesses so that this can be the best for the child, right? Boom. Now, pause and freeze frame. Let's go into a certain philosophy that I like to follow, the 5% philosophy, right? And real quick, 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Cipher, right? 1 is knowledge, 2 is wisdom, 3 is understanding. The circle was cipher, right? We're just gonna stop right there. Now the cipher is all. Let's go with the earth. Bang. The 1 is man. 2 is woman. Man and woman come together. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 3 is understanding. You understand what I'm saying? So man, woman, child. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Because when you bring knowledge and wisdom, the best two things, those two things come together, forge understanding, right? Now, understanding, it goes under the column of love, right? So if you love something, and if you love someone and they say something to you, you don't understand, you usually go, damn, what you mean by that? Like Jay-Z, I like Jay-Z enormously. I'm a big fan of Jay-Z. So when Jay-Z did the NFL deal, I had to ask, damn, like, what's up? Like, what's going on? Like, then when I heard how the interviews and so forth that I see, it didn't seem good enough.
I'm not impressed.
To me, you know what I mean? And it just let me know that, once again, Malcolm X hit it dead on. And Malcolm X has said that, black people are the only people that have entertainers as our political figures. And if you have an entertainer as a political figure, you got a clown for a political figure, because entertainers move for the money. So in the political game, there's big money in there. Hence,
comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community, and have been made celebrities. And usually,
hence, entertainers going in there. Now, it's not necessarily for no social change, bro. It's for the sake of getting money. All right. So now we get knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Right. Understanding is the child. Knowledge is the man. Wisdom is the woman. Right. Knowledge is what you know set into motion. Those things come together. We get an understanding. Right. That's the child. Right. Now let's go back out of it. Now we back in 2022, the present state of time, and then we see 2020. I'm sorry. In the present state of time, we get to see that there's a lot of turmoil in between the male and female, because in the conception of that child, there probably was a misreading of the purpose of that feeling you call love, right? And because of that misreading of that purpose that you call love, you fell in love or had a baby for the wrong reason. A lot of women would have a baby to keep the male around, right? Because she fell in love, he didn't. Now she's going to rig the situation. Next thing you know, I'm pregnant. That's why the man always be like, whoa, why, how, what, I did, and whoop, 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 man, what you going to do? He don't really want it. I mean, and shame on him for engaging in sexual activity, knowing the outcome. You see what I'm saying? Now, let's talk about that behavior. If we look at that behavior, that's a low self-esteem on that male's point of view. I'm guilty of it too. Now, when we really be real with it, if you was really aiming at the woman, your ideal mate, if you was casually having sex with your ideal mate, and she said that she was pregnant, doesn't matter your financial situation, you'll be okay with it. You understand? But because it's not your ideal mate, you're not cool with it. I'm just keeping it real, man. It's too late in the game to really try to fake shit and try to be, a numbskull. You know what I mean? We trying to be a god. You know what I mean? But right now, we in the middle. Living it out. So, what we gonna do? All right, bet. Peep game. Right? Now, now let's go into the government's role in this right here. Right? Because the more we understand about God, the way they use the word God in the Bible and so forth, the more we will understand the government, right? Now, there's a philosophy that states, I heard, I do a lot of research and studies and readings and all that. I can't remember where a lot of these preliminary thought patterns will come from. There's a philosophy that states that if every organism was to think about God, it would think it was a bigger organism. Meaning that if a fish or a dog or a cat or a human thought about God, it would only think that a God was a bigger fish, dog, cat, or human. You understand what I'm saying? So now be us, as a supreme form of intelligence, we see God as like a big giant that can look down at the earth like this and see everybody's individual actions and hear everybody in it. And we see him like that, like a big man, the man. You understand what I'm saying? And we also see the government the same way, hence the term, the man. Who on you, man? The man. Them crackers. Them this, that, and the third. Right? Is a jealous God. Them crackers jealous. Don't put nobody before this thought pattern right here. They offer us heaven and hell right here on earth. If you was born in the privilege of being in the ghetto, then you was born in hell. And if you was born with the burden of being born in the suburbia, then you was born in heaven. Right? And you're going to see a shield trying to prevent people from getting in, and you're going to see the hordes trying to get in and act in ways to be accepted in on the other side. All it takes is enough time in the ghetto for the brain to say enough of this, and then we start to make moves, and the thought pattern between the good and the bad, or the bad and the good, for the sake of what's going on behind me, right? That we will come up with, that's the making deals with the devil, right? And then we would say, man, I know this ain't right, but I need to get out of here. And we would commit to said acts. You know what I'm saying? And it's been set up in a way that we would all, cash is the king, money is the motive. Cash is king, money is the motive. So now we go right back to the house, right back to the home, and we go into the mind of a woman, mind of a man. The man has to have a need. He has to provide. He has to protect. He has to do it. It's in his DNA. When you take away those attributes from a man, you leave a shell of a man. In turn, not a whole man, a depressed man, a man that you get fun out of kicking, probing, prying, and telling them what to do. Telling your friends, watch this, let me show you this. He about to go to work all 2 weeks, and I'm gonna take everything, and he gonna be cool with it, and then he gonna go right back to work, and I'm going to sleep every night. I got a headache, I need to do this. He not getting what he want. And they cool with it. And then you'll meet I got friends, man, young, hip, fly dudes, man, got in relationships, and they will be telling me, this is what my girl don't got no job, bro. She don't do this, my girl don't do that, all she do is da-da-da-da-da. And she stays on the internet watching Love and Hip Hop, watching Basketball Wives of this, that, and the third, worrying about what this person said and what that person said, all the way down to anything, bro. Meanwhile, we out in the world seeing it like a war, seeing it like it's like, you know, us against them, and they are taking away all these pieces. They are taking our children, they're feminizing our boys, they are doing, they're masculine our females, masculine, I don't know the word, and hypersexualizing our females. You can see it. You click on the gram, and anytime you'll just see a woman turn around on the gram and just start shaking her best part. That's sad. All right, so back to this passive parenting to keep my mind on the topic. You understand that the woman has a very vital part to play into the situation. She's the earth. The 5% is referred to as the earth. I am the God, the sun. The sun shines on the earth. She's also the moon. The earth has a feminine attribute. The moon has a feminine attribute. And the sun has a masculine attribute. The feminine attribute of the earth is that it is nature, water. Water has a feminine thing. Is a bird, is a bearer of life. Life bearing is in the nature and all that. Is in the woman's, is in the side of the woman. You see what I'm saying? So I guess death will be in the side of the man. Discipline, order, and so forth will be attributes of the male. The moon is in tune with the female. Every 28 days is a new moon. Every 28 days there's a woman's menstrual cycle. You can count it on any woman. It never fails. This shit is like better than going to church on a Sunday. Right? But once you peep what's going on, you understand what's happening. So, and the man, when the man becomes of age or whatever, the sun rises in the morning time, and so shall he. His nature rises with the sun. And it's doctors all over the place. If your man has erectile problems, if you could, they suggest to try to catch him in the wee hours of the morning when the sun is rising, because 9 out of 10, the same thing will be happening for him. So we are in tune with these celestial bodies that are outside of us, and because they resonate only with you and not with her or with him, then we can give that thing an attribute of you. Right? Now the moon is needed, and so is the sun. The earth is needed. In case we can say the moon isn't needed, but the earth is definitely needed. Water is definitely needed. Life is definitely needed. You need that. So is the sun. In order for everything to be, everything that is has to actively be there. In order for you to have that child, that male had to be there. Why would you deny the male from being in that process? What is the purpose? What is the logic? You see? But if your logic was based off a false sense of love or a wrong form of love, then you will have a baby with the wrong thing, and then when turmoil pops up or the unpleasant times pop up, then you will use the baby as a weapon and so forth. You have to be very, very careful. Me myself has I'm super passionate about this consciousness thing. I mean, but to me, it's deeper than that, man. I don't know what it is, man. Like, I don't know, man. Like, all my friends know, like, I'm trying. This is part of the reason why I'm on YouTube. This is probably one of the main reasons why I'm talking like this on YouTube. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's because of this. Like, you know what I mean? I met plenty of females, man, and especially when they got sons. A single female raising sons, it is the perfect antidote to having a beta male, a sheeple come out of that household. You see what I'm saying? They had a term back in the day, bitch made. You're bitch made. And I ain't never really, when you analyze the word bitch made, man, it usually applies to a man. So that means even though he's a man, he has been forged by a bitch, which is a feminine attribute, a female dog, right? So if that man has been forged by something feminine, that means in his masculine journey being identified as such, and his movements and actions correspond with something outside of that template, then the alpha males in that circle would deem him as weak, right? Now, if I was to give birth to a female, well, I got 2 daughters, and if I was to have a son, I would want my daughter to be elegant, graceful, poised, smart, athletic, outgoing, and empathetic, and also have a sense of discipline and like self-defense, overwhelming sense of pride and joy, and not a superficial kind of beauty, but an internal beauty that shines out, that radiates through her whole everything. You understand what I'm saying? That's my ideal woman. Now my son will be an alpha male, a man of honor, integrity, respect, gentle man, but at the same time a man. So therefore, if you try to violate or infiltrate or any form of that, he will be savvy enough and poised enough to know how to handle the situation in said manners. You understand? But he will also have a yearning and a thirst for power. If that's what it's all about. You understand? So that's my ideal for the two. So I'm wondering, when a woman raises a child, a male on top of that, what is her purpose? I have friends that have women that have friends that have boys, and I stepped in and with effects on trying to be a positive role model, male role model for the boys, right? But they were so deep into the bosom of that woman's love and nature, and the mom's overprotecting, overbearing, irrational, hugging and protecting a male from the outside world. When I say stuff like that, I mean that the male cannot even talk about his own sexual desires. He can't express certain sexual desires towards that. In turn, it messes with his identity, and messes with his esteem, it messes with his pride, it messes with everything. And then he becomes socially awkward when it comes to the interaction with females. And when they become more like, you have to fight for what you want, right? Now you will see a lot of these women raising video game babies, internet babies. So if you're raising a kid that's on that video game, he's also a porn addict. Can't hide it. The internet, it's there. That's what it's there. The first thing people think about the internet is porn. It's scientific. Scientific. It doesn't matter. That shit is like the litter of the porn, of the internet highway. Pornography is like the soda and the white stuff you see on lawns, the little white paper and plastic bags you see blowing down the street. If the internet was a real highway, that's what you would see, little pornographic papers and stuff scattered all around the highway. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. So when we raising our kids in this manner right here, and a lot of women, for whatever reason, take great deal in pride, especially black women, of pulling their kids away from any masculine force, especially the biological force. When that biological force has been pulled away, the biological father has been pulled away, and then a stepfather or acting stepfather comes into play, another male comes into play, she will protect those kids no matter how right or how just his words are, she will protect those kids, right? Especially because most of the time the words is the description or the instructions to a discipline that the house is not trying to follow. That's why the kids are a representation of your best acts, your best efforts is your kid. So if your kid is whatever, that's your best act, that's your best doing, that's just it, right? I see women more worried about work, more worried about eyelashes, more worried about hair, more worried about phones, more worried about clothes than I see them worrying about their offspring. And that troubles me, right? And then because the woman loves her phone, loves her clothes, loves her whatever else, she would now put what she loves on the child. Men do it also. When you fall, I was a hustler. I love money. And because I love money, when I had to put love there, I would put money there. Because I had to go get to the money. That's what I love to do. Love to go get the money. So now, damn, Dad, you want to spend some time with me? Nah, yeah, I spend some time with you. I'm going to buy you some sneakers, go get you a little outfit or something. And when we go do that, get something to eat. And I drop my bag over and I'm back on the street. You know what I mean? Because I love money. I shared what I love with you. Time and money was time. I could be getting money. I'm here spending it. And that was my way of saying I love you because this is what I love. So when you understand that, right? Understanding once again in the same conversation with love, and you put what the mom is doing, right? Whether it's sneakers, whatever, boom, she put it on the child, and that's her way of saying that she loves that child, right? But if you are raising a child with no purpose, no agenda, no goal, if you don't have an enemy in the 48 laws of power, it states, if you do not have an enemy, create one. Is healthy. Women don't think like that. So they go around with no boundaries, no clear sense of danger, don't know how to arm the men to be men. And in certain conversations, that if you as a man try to have with females, they will be appalled by the conversation itself, by the conversation itself, and not what is being said and what's really articulated in the conversation. You understand what I'm saying? So that right there, they cannot raise a male to be an alpha if you cannot talk to the male in the proper feedback that the male needs to have. Now, when I had my daughter on one of them weekends, she had her first period on my turn. Now, prior to this day, I did not like hearing, knowing, seeing, smelling, none of that when it came to period. You heard me? Especially seeing and smelling. You know what I'm saying? And then right after that was talking about what I was avoiding seeing and smelling. Right? But what humbled me towards that was my own daughter. My daughter had it, and instantly it became normal. It became a part of life. It became something because I had to tell her, don't be afraid. Don't be embarrassed. This is what comes with being a female. Side note, do you know, studies show that if you have a female daughter and the more the more adult situations she's exposed to, the faster her period will come on. Meaning that if you could keep her engaged in child activities and not so much problems of the world, that she would go through her puberty at a later date, in turn elongating her her childhood, right? Because after the period comes on, that is a speaking that her hormones and everything is kicking in. You know, when our voice changes, or our beard, something comes in, our Adam apple comes in, our body odor changes. That is our beacon for us to let us know that we are becoming sexually ready. Our hormones, our scent, everything is being activated. You see what I'm saying? And there's no more milk on the breath. There's none of that little cute baby smell coming when you hug me. You see what I'm saying? It's a different feeling. Muscles harden up, bones harden up, the woman's shape harden up, starts to come through, bosom, hip, just different attributes that click in and let you know that she's sexually ready. This is just what happens. So when you understand that was a side note on the period, because my daughter had the period, I had to grow up instantly, fast, on the moment, on the spot, reassure her there was nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be disgusted about. And because I, as the male, still had the smell and sight thing, such like a phobia or whatever you want to call it, sketched in my brain, that I try to impute that into my daughter's brain to make sure that they handle and treat it with the same type of dignity they want, anything else that you would want to dispose of. You know what I'm saying? You'll hate to go to the bathroom for number 2, and then you walk out of there and somebody goes in behind you, and then your whole number 2 is still in there. You know what I mean? Not even a fraction. You know what I mean? You left the whole deuce. You did, like, you tipping them out. That's not the wave, so we're not doing that. So when you understand that it's all part of it, nothing to be afraid of, but with great power comes great responsibility, and your responsibility has now been magnified a couple times now that the vagina has become active. Now that the penis has become active, a certain type of responsibilities, a certain type of attributes, and all that should come into play. Now, if the child has a father, active father, active father, then the father will be aware of these markers, and the father should, if he has knowledge of self and understands the flow of how it goes, he will educate the child on what's to come ahead, right? Especially if the man, when I say man, it's already encompassed in the term man, that he has a purpose and so forth, and an agenda. You know what I mean? That's what separates a lot of men from the boys. You know what I mean? The agenda, the purpose, the goal. When I have a friend of mine is having a baby soon, and I'm wondering what they understand about what's about to happen. Right? Now, understanding that the baby is becoming the vocal point of your interest, and your interest is to make sure that baby has a certain type of life, that it is imperative that you guys can see past love, can see past the good time, that she could turn down her emotion that might make her want to use the baby as a means to get back at him. I have been in numerous situations where I'm trying to save the child's life. The mother knows I'm trying to save the child's life, but out of resentment for me, they would use the child. They would tell the child, "You don't have to do that. You can stop." And they think because they're getting back at me for a second or a minute, however long that satisfaction is, that's good. But meanwhile, the whole life of that child has now been altered when you do that. You understand what I'm saying? My kid's mother, man, put me through all types of stuff when it comes to this, man. I've been told to stay away from the kids. You can't see them. And at the time, she lived across the street from me. I had to sneak and say hi. And when I walk by, I would tell them, "Come outside. And they be like, "No, come outside." They come outside, I'll hug them and whatever. And then she'll come out and see me hugging with them, and she'll pull on them and tug on them and put them down and be tripping. Whole time inviting other, what I would deem as lame type men. I don't even call them men. Lame type boys around my kids, and I can't be around them. And if I was to give into the satisfaction that to let her know how annoyed I was, and was to put pain and pressure on them dudes, man. My mom and everybody advised me to just chill and just be patient with the situation, because obviously these moves could lead to a backlash that when you feel like this, you don't even care about. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And what is the purpose to the end result of what? And now my daughter was about 17, 16 years old and was running away from home. I get a phone call from my baby mom. Brrr. Hello? Yeah, come get your daughter. Out of 16 years, I never heard those words ever. Your daughter. My daughter. And never heard it. Probably in the beginning when she was a baby, a little bundle of joy, and go get your daughter, just your daughter. After a while, when she weaponized that baby, it was never yours. Then because she weaponized the baby, gave the baby all this freedom so that her house could be more of a house to go to than my house. So when they come over there and you get all these different freedoms, and the kids are more inclined to stay with you naturally, and they're supposed to stay with me, who has discipline, who has order, who has so forth, then they end up with you. So anyway, this is the end result. So when you use the kids because she fell in love with me for the wrong reasons, had the baby for the wrong reasons, then end up using the babies for the wrong to get back at me. You know what I'm saying? There's numerous times I've seen that, man. So the women, they'll let their emotions govern their movements. Men will tend to make logic govern their movements. Not saying that many of men have not made emotion govern their movement, because everybody suffers from emotions. Everybody has an emotion. There's always an emotion. There's an emotion that promoted me to get on the video today. So everybody moves out of emotion. But, that heightened emotion, that emotion that denies logic, that emotion that denies the truth for being said and expressed on any level. You know what I'm saying? The worst thing to do is to have an argument with your girl and you saying something is true, and she's just denying it just because she's in that emotional state, and they don't understand the type of psychological effect it has on the male when that happens. All right? So we need to understand that the government incentivizes that the woman stays with the child. The woman represents a certain passiveness in the creation thing. And the Kabbalion is a certain book, the Kabbalion. All right? See if I can put it right here. The Kabbalion. In this book, it talks, this is Jewish mysticism, blah, blah, blah. You can look it up and find out everything on it on your own. I read some of the book, and it talks about gender. Gender goes into the term generation of power. Generation of power. Power is expressed through energy. Energy is represented through the negative and positive. The negative and positive represents the male and the female. One represents an activeness, one represents a passiveness. You know what I'm saying? And that's the give and the pulling of it all. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you understand that and you deny the active out of that creative process, and then you just leave the passiveness, right? Because we human. Now you take the male out of there and leave it just the female, and then you get a passiveness that tends to that could like handicap the mindset of the brain. And every time you could watch Steve Harvey's Little Big Shots, pull it up on YouTube, and you're gonna see little kids doing extraordinary stuff. And Steve always asks them, how and why, and my dad. You can have a natural interest, a natural talent. You can do that, and so forth. But it's only your father that makes you a superstar. Look it up. Mayweather, Venus, Cole, Steph, so forth. And if you don't have a father, it's usually a male figure there. I have a daughter that played basketball. Her best coaches were male. Because the men got a way of seeing stuff like a war. You understand? The man is a man's world. And the man's nature is to look out for the woman and the child. They say God take care of the ignorant, the fool, and the fools and weak, or babies and some. You know what I'm saying? And because of a certain lack of knowledge or lack of certain, like the lack of knowing that there's a quest for power, one could become a fool. And in that regard, not to make the term too bad. In that regard, it would have to fit the woman in that. And you see the government looking out for the woman because she'll be operating out of ignorance. For her to deny the male aspect of creation, she will be operating out of ignorance. In turn, she will be a fool. In turn, the government playing God will now take care of her. But the more you understand about the government, the more you understand about God, the more you understand about the government. The God they have is believing in is invisible. The government is invisible. It has representatives, aka angels, aka minions, aka so forth. right? The police, sorry, I ain't mean to go so far, and AKA the police, right? They will act out to carry out the will of God, aka the government, right? The Bible and the law coincides with one another. The Bible tells you to pay tithes, aka taxes. The Bible tells you to turn the other cheek. You understand what I'm saying? Now, in the same Bible, there's a cheek being smacked and there's a hand smacking the cheek. Instantly, you felt like you was the cheek being smacked. But do you know, with a certain type of upbringing, a certain type of privilege, that you will see yourself as the one smacking? Same book, same words, just a different point of view. Who taught you? Whoever taught you, make sure that without them even saying it, you will be the one being smacked. Because in the world, you are being smacked by the government with no regard. And you can't do nothing. Because it's in your blood, it's in your mind, it's in your handcuff. Your mental handcuff has handcuffed you to do nothing. That's it. So, with that being said, the government is not working for you, it's working against you. It is a big money in ignorance. It's a big money in you raising more ignorant children. Black people feed so much of America. Anytime there's so many jobs that has been opened up over and over and over because of black people. Let's look at the police. Police have been, it's been documented that the police has been instilled for the policing of the Indians and black people. That gives them the right to carry a gun. And then in the police, you have the drugs, which was targeted towards black people. And then you have all types of gang targeted towards black people. And you got the jails themselves, right, that house the black people, that feed. So the police, the gangs, and the special drug operation that goes on in there, all were good old white folk, promising good old white folk more money and more money and more money. How to go in and corral niggas. Now what you got to do is look up Nick Cannon having an interview on Cannon's class. He had an interview with a girl, I forget the lady's name, and she said that the difference between criminology and sociology is one is the study of the black man and one is the study of the white man. Criminology is the study of the black man and sociology is the study of the white man. And
Absolutely.
And obviously you've studied this. You've studied administration of justice, and that's where your doctorate is, and even criminology, and even breaking down, which a couple of our classes we had that you opened my eyes to, of the difference between sociology and criminology is really just the study of black man.
Yeah.
Criminology is ultimately that,
Yeah.
of just being and that, just that statement alone, just when you think about that, criminology is the study of a black man, and that blew my mind. Like, so because when you think of things to be,
they both say the same thing, but one of them it tells you the makings and how to make a criminal, how to put a man in a criminalistic state of mind. Criminology would explain why one turns to crime, right? And then sociology would tell you how to raise yourself or your kids to avoid that state of mind from embodying them, in turn making them a criminal. And then you would see that by what you have been born in the equation that you was born into was designed for you to be a criminal if you were born black and poor. It's simple. So, with that said, I'm gonna need our ladies to do some knowledge of self, find out what it is to be a female, find out what you represent in the equation, right? Of the equation of creation, right? The feminine attribute and the masculine attribute comes together, pow, and they make life. You cannot deny that man in that life process. That is evil, that is inorganic, and you're killing the child. You understand? You are killing the child. You know, so you know, with that said, man, it's went way over the time limit I had scheduled for it. I hope this was informative. I hope that we learned from it. And I'm gonna put this out no matter what, no matter how many errors I made, no matter Tyler looked away from the camera, no many hand movements, no matter what, I'm gonna put it out there. I appreciate all my subscribers. I appreciate all the love. I appreciate everything I've been getting from this so far, but I definitely need more. And like I said, I got, before I, you know, put the demand on you, I'm gonna put the demand on me. With that said, peace, love, live. One.